Yo, what is good? Adam, make sure that you have, we're running the audio through your account this morning. So make sure that.
Let's check. Everybody put a hand. Chris, can you hear us out there? And raise your hand, man, if you can hear us on the,
raise your hand if you can hear us on the, yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. If you can see here, I'm down here in Mexico, so we have a little bit of a different setup today. So I'm really glad. Also, Chris, make sure that you can add in my account on stage. The markets are absolutely ripping today, and I'm just wondering, man, is this finally the time? Is this finally time for the God candle that everybody's?
I think the God candle happened yesterday, man. I feel like that was actually the thing yesterday. It just felt like, every time I closed Twitter down and then opened it again, it was like another, it was up another 1,000. It just had that vibe to it, So yeah, it felt like yesterday was kind of like, wow, we are in the mid. I mean, we've been saying for a while now, a couple months, like it's felt like the bull market's here. But yesterday it really clicked in. clicked in for the space, it seemed like. And like, it's funny because I literally just got off the phone with my brother, who's a Wall Street guy. Wall Street, he's like, trust me, man, nobody in Wall Street really, like, it's on CNBC, but it hasn't really felt it. So we're feeling it in the crypto space, but the normies are not here yet. So yeah, just keep that in mind, everybody.
A question I keep asking, because I'm looking at like all of these, inscription collections just completely past their all-time highs. So the puppets are up to like 0.15 Bitcoin, which is like almost 3 ETH. You have node monkeys are almost at 0.4. Are normies going to even want to buy Bitcoin NFTs? Are they even going to be able to figure it out? Is a question I continually ask myself. Like, if they couldn't even figure out ETH NFTs, do you think they're going to be able to manage 10-minute to 60-minute block times?
I do think, they did figure it out, right? I mean, I'm sure many people in this space right now, got into Ethereum or figured out Solana. Like, money will make you figure stuff out. So if they continue to rip and they continue to get crazy pricing, I'd say yes. People will figure stuff out. But I'm still waiting for that new thing. What's the new thing? I mean, really? It's NFTs on Bitcoin. Like, okay, get it, got it. But I'm still waiting for the new thing. I don't know. Maybe we have it. I don't know. We'll see. It's cross-chain a thing?
Well, I think
cross-chain going to be the thing, this thing?
Oh, so this is what we should actually cover. As everyone saw, our partnership and collaboration with the DGods team of the D-Desk. I had a few people actually reach out. Adam, if you like, could you pin the Frank tweet to the top?
Yep.
I know it's probably buried in there somewhere.
Yep.
Over the last 2 weeks, and maybe 2.5 weeks, we've been working very closely with Frank and the DGods team and the NF3 team, who's doing the smart contracts for the D-Desk, which we'll go in here and talk about it here in a second. And then also Xverse worked with us for this new unlocking mechanism, which a lot of people have actually been asking us about for quite some time. So a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, but, watching Shannon really interact with, the DGods development team and us having to go back and forth with Frank 4,000 times, it was really cool. Like the fact that Frank sees the vision, and it's everything that, you, me, Chris, and Shannon and Eric have been preaching about since 2016. It was exactly the same thing that we had always talked about. I think we have a little bit of a different vision of, how to actually get there. He believes, we'll get there through the D-Desk. We believe we'll get there through just simple cross-chain functionalities. But where we all converge together is that the vaulting and unvaulting mechanism will take place directly on the D-Desk, directly away from Emblem.finance, where everyone hates using because it's old and is, quite inefficient, which we're working on. But having Emblem in a box, and maybe we'll just talk about the SDK here in a little bit as well. But yeah, Adam, talk about maybe just from your experience of, working with Frank over the last 2 weeks, and then obviously here into the future. What's your first take of just working, one-on-one with him, building this collaborative kind of effort?
Yeah, I think, just if people this is maybe the first time you're hearing about it, and just so you understand, like DGods has a very active Discord. And in that Discord, people actually negotiate trades. So there's a lot of like OTC deals that happen there. And so he recognized this from just a pain point perspective of how do they remove, the dude with a spreadsheet, organizing these trades to make them safe. How do we remove that? And to get to the idea of Shannon, this was an idea like years ago. How do you enable NFT to NFT swaps to take place? And so that's how, they approached us. And they said, look, obviously we have the Bitcoin DGods, we got DGods and Utes on Ethereum, and we want to be able to trade these and allow people to trade these trustlessly, right? Understanding that the negotiations may take place in the Discord, but how can we provide a system for these guys to all get in this and trade these things? And so that's how we were kind of approached. And how can we make this a seamless experience, an easy experience within the DGods, what they're calling D-Desk, right? So a website where you can facilitate these trades. And it's not an easy lift from a technical standpoint. Obviously, Emblem is a key point in this to be able to bring the Bitcoin ordinals over to Ethereum. The trades and swaps all are going to happen on Ethereum. But you just think about this, and the larger view and perspective is being able to trade NFTs from all chains seamlessly together, right? This is kind of Emblem's larger vision. We get it. It was great to see Frank get it. Um, and being able to facilitate this as like a first step in a larger kind of ecosystem. I think Frank recognizes that he's kind of leading the charge here. Like, it hasn't really been done. People haven't, other than Emblem Vault, people haven't really done this. And so we're excited, obviously, because Frank's going to bring a lot of eyeballs and attention to it. Being able to be that kind of spot for DeGods where people can get comfortable with it. I think they're doing an amazing job from a technical perspective, making this like easy. It's got to be stone cold easy. And so that's pushed us to be better, right? We want to make it seamless and easy. And I can't wait for the rollout. I'm beyond pumped. You know, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he's adding a few different dynamics to this, but yeah, basically what Adam is saying is Frank's goal is to basically eliminate spreadsheet trading forever. No matter what chain you're on, this is going to be the idea, and he's going to start with Bitcoin ordinals. He hasn't said much, but we know how things go. Once you get traction there, I don't think it stops at ordinals. I think it eventually just leans into everything. But we're going to start with Bitcoin DeGods, and I think whichever collections he wants whitelisted. I believe there's been a request of about 25 different collections, from Quantum Cats to Puppets to Femojis to pretty much all the large collections, Pizza Ninjas. And they're just going to do NFT to NFT style trading. But if you're familiar with how Emblem works, and you know that we have Emblem markets launching here pretty shortly as well, we've made a lot of progress on that. Soon we'll be able to have an MVP to show everybody, right? Once assets are inside of a vault, you don't have to trade on, the D-Desk. If you want to do, we're going to be pushing D-Desk as the premier multi-chain NFT to NFT swap platform. But you could then go trade these on Emblem markets in the way that you want, right? Or you could go trade on Blur or do whatever. And as Emblem then adds different chains as we deploy on ordinals in April, May, and then in quarter 3, we deploy on Solana and all these ETH2s. There really won't be that much of a reason to even not be in a vault, right? You could just move it to every single chain. And I know for Frank, he's doing this like whitelist kind of procedure. I don't know specifically how he's going to roll it out to his community. They're still really kind of, I guess, figuring that out, but I know he is offering some sort of incentive program as well. Like if you want to be a broker, I know they will give you a percentage of that royalty that's kind of built on their platform. Whether it's, I don't know the specific percentage. That's where NF3 comes into play. They're the one that's the smart contracts for them. I did see today that Frank announced that the only way to trade Utes is going to be through Magic Eden's ETH NFT enforced marketplace, which maybe we'll cover that next. So from there, but from talking with Frank, they've really thought this through. I mean, on the other side of this, right, in terms of multi-chain functionality, Emblem's Premier right now is kind of like the export of UTXO based NFT assets and moving them to EVM compatible chains. On the other side of that, Frank and the DeGods team partnered with Wormhole so that you could take DeGods and move them around to any EVM chain and I guess any SVM chain, which is like the Solana VM. So for that, you think about the perspective that they're in, right? With DeGods, they have this function of, it's the burn and mint function, which Frank had come out and said he wasn't like completely agree with, but it seems like now he kind of is. So with your DeGod, right, you'll be able to burn the asset and then it'll remint on Solana. And then you can do the same thing, burn it, and then probably get it on whatever L2 or whatever EVM chain avalanche that Wormhole offers. On the other side of this, right, Emblem is using, or Frank and the DeGods team is using Emblem to bring all of the Bitcoin UTXO assets to EVM chains. And I think that's where he's just going to be the universal multi-chain swap desk. And so whatever type of incentives he can offer, I believe his community will lean in. I mean, the DeGods floor, the Bitcoin DeGods floor has just jumped up just based off of the type of like hype and intensity. Where this eventually leads is, once these ordinal collections start being supported and, we already offer them, but in terms of like putting the marketing machine of Frank and the DGods team behind it, you'll see probably a lot of listings of ordinal collections on NFT loan platforms, right? Like Arcade and NFTFi. You'll probably see some like NFT pools start popping up. You'll probably see some more gamification. I think ultimately the holy grail here would be getting Blur to start pushing Bitcoin NFTs in vaults on on Blur, so you can basically farm them, or eventually take it when we deploy on Blast. You could go take these into Blast and participate in any of these type of gamification casino-fi products that are beginning to pop out here. So I have here pulled up on the screen, like one of Frank's announcements. This is something that you can see. It just says the D-Desk trading your ETH DGods for BTC DGods. I know we've talked about eventually you'll be able to trade BTC DGods for Bored Apes or for whatever type of collection that you want. And then Sam, Serious Sam, who's we've been talking with, he went on actually like a little bit of a deeper explanation of like what's going to come here. And he gives a bit of a technical breakdown. And it's really cool. And one final thing before I start calling on the hands here. One feature that our communities ask for a lot, which we've talked with pretty much every single ordinal wallet with at some point in time and got all no's. And of course, Frank now finally being the guy to finally get it pushed through. There's this request that a lot of people have asked for, which improves the user experience, which is unlocking your ordinal vault and having it directly delivered to a wallet. Well, we've worked with Xverse, and Ken, who's the founder of Xverse, built a custom script so that when you unlock, we'll use in this example, your Bitcoin DGod, once you unlock it, there will be a button that says send, or however they're going to or label it inside of their front end. Basically, you click a button and it'll send that BTC DGod from the ordinal wallet inside of the vault to your Xverse wallet that you literally have as your wallet extension as a transaction. So literally just it'll be one click to unlock the vault and then one more click and sign transaction to have that Bitcoin DGod removed from the vault directly to your Xverse wallet. And as we know, if you've ever unlocked the vault, it's a really big pain in the ass because of kind of how wallets and NFTs work, where you have to take the private key, right, and then import it into a wallet. It creates a whole fresh wallet. Then you have to send Bitcoin to that wallet to then send it out. So this cuts a lot of those steps out. And then because of this, we're now exploring ways where we could do this on the reverse end, where you could just, with our bulk minting tool, which we've actually finished on the back end, but it is not live on the front end, to where we can really get this vaulting experience down with maybe 3-4 clicks complete all around. And so it's just been an overall win. It's something we've all been working for quite some time. And it's really exciting to see, to be working with Frank and the NF3 team and Xverse, and huge collaborative opportunity. Big win for the multi-chain thesis if you're in it for NFTs. So exciting times. I think Johannes has his hand up. So what's good, bro?
Good morning or good evening. So I have to admit I'm Ordinals fanboy. So I wanted to ask some questions how you are going to plan, how it's going to work. So I heard that you're talking about Blur. So I would expect that you are expecting that most of the trading and swaps will then in the end happen on Ethereum, on EVM world. Is that correct? And if this is correct, is there also a plan that we maybe can stay on Bitcoin and do similar transactions as, on Bitcoin, like for example, Magic Eden or something like this? Because as an Ordinals fanboy, I would prefer to stay on Bitcoin. Is that an option, or do you concentrate on EVM first?
Yeah, I mean, you could stay on ordinals right now and just not interact with the D-Desk if you don't want to. That's a complete option to you, right? And if you kind of look at the multi-chain thesis, there's two different camps, I guess two main camps, right? There's kind of these like blockchain maximalists who just want to utilize the native trading experience, and that's completely okay. You know, Emblem supports that you want. But there's a whole other subsection of the crypto markets that's becoming a much stronger, that wants to use the strengths of each blockchain and be able to take that to the chain that they want so that they can access additional liquidity, right? So here's something, for example, Liquidium is a native NFT loan platform for ordinals, but their volume's about $2 million in a week. If you go over to Arcade and NFTFi on ETH, it's about $200 million, right? So you can access about 100x more liquidity, and you can also participate in their incentive programs, right? So instead, if you don't want to participate in the Liquidium, rewards program, point system, and you believe there's a bigger opportunity to do this on NFTFi or on Arcade, then you have that option. And this is basically what's being built. This is kind of the multi-chain thesis. Some people also, they want Bitcoin assets because they believe it's like the most pristine version of an NFT, but they want to go trade it on Solana because it's just a higher throughput, higher access. And so you could take your Quantum Cat, right, which is worth $9,000, $10,000. You can import that value to a new chain and then participate with that ecosystem, with those rewards, with the strengths of that blockchain. And that's really what we're doing. It's not saying like, hey, you have to go to EVM. We're just giving people the choice because here at Emblem, we believe you have to meet collectors where they are. And there's just inherently a bunch of users that exist on ETH that just don't want to go to Bitcoin. Like they want exposure to it, but they like the experience of having it all kind of corralled in one wallet. And it's just more native to their experience. And Adam, do you want to add anything kind of over the last year and a half that you've seen in terms of like this multi-chain thesis?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at the core, it's about money, and we've seen it a million times. People will literally go anywhere for the right amount of money. You talked about, are people going to be willing to learn Bitcoin to get on and trade ordinals? And the answer for me is yes, as long as there's enough money to be made, right? And so us providing these tools, will people use them? Yes, if there's enough liquidity on the other side, right? I mean, we've just seen it again and again. This is just human nature. Like, trust me, everybody would be bridging their, ordinals to Solana if the Solana NFT market was willing to pay a premium for your ordinals, right? I mean, it was just the way it is. So I totally get people who want to be, ordinals maxis or ETH maxis or Solana maxis, and you want to, support your chain that you want to be, the number one. But most people will do that up until the point where they can make money on another chain successfully. And so, yeah, Jake just laid out the reasons, good reasons why people might want to move. Johannes, yeah, go again. What's up, man?
Yeah, so I completely agree to you. So liquidity on Bitcoin is, let's say, growing. But so first of all, I think it's super awesome, your technology of voting stuff and being able to switch the networks, which is great. But just as a reminder, I think it's a perfect technology to secure your assets by putting them into a vault. And as an ordinal maxi, I have to at least mention that on Bitcoin, you don't have smart contract risk. So as a recovering Solidity developer, I can tell you that there are multiple options to make everything wrong if you accidentally interact with this wrong contract. So maybe you want to do your degen trading stuff on ordinals. I think it's fair to say that at least be aware that your vault is super secure, but some people have issues to do smart contracts at all, right?
100% get that. Actually, I mean, I don't know if you know Emblem well enough, but one of our big ideas is, and one of the things we're working on is bringing assets to ordinals, right? So imagine your CryptoKitty or your CryptoPunk, your Bored Ape, you want to trade it natively as an ordinal, like, that's on our roadmap. So yes, both and all. Yes. Just making it seamless so everybody can move everything everywhere. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, you'll hear, we're going to do our town hall. We're going to do our town hall next week. And I have a nice presentation about everything that we're working on. And we've already made this known multiple times that Emblem on Bitcoin ordinals is something a lot of people want. They want their rare pepes denominated in Bitcoin. An early conversation we had last year with a bunch of users is they wanted to nominate their CryptoPunk in Bitcoin because they believe that it can break this psychological price barrier, right? Where CryptoPunks got up to 150 ETH. And at some point, this like number bias hits, but denominating your CryptoPunk in Bitcoin, right, where you say 3 Bitcoin for a CryptoPunk, right, or 3 Bitcoin for a Node Monkey, some of these people who have just like large amounts of Bitcoin will happily pay that. And so there's a lot of different utilities there. But also, Johannes, to your point, yeah, anytime you take your assets out of a native ecosystem, you're introducing more risk, more attack vectors. That could be anything from smart contract risk to being phished through different types of smart contract approval processes. There's all kinds of different things. Honestly, you don't know how to use MetaMask, right? If you're an ordinal maxi and you've never used MetaMask, it could be a little bit more confusing. So there's all kinds of different risk factors. And we always highly recommend that if you're not comfortable, dealing with this, like multi-chain is a little bit more of an advanced kind of tooling. If you're not familiar with it, start with very low value assets, right? Even just inscribe an asset and participate in it, or just don't leave. You don't have to participate in this, but this is something that people want. And the more people you discuss and talk about this with, they believe, the future is multi-chain. Just like today's world, society doesn't exist purely in their own country. People leave different countries. People import and export assets to different countries. And I think it's going to be the same with digital rails in this on-chain economy. So go ahead.
We just got on the YouTube live stream. G Lazy says my Inscription got hacked. Can you help me get it back?
Boy.
ETH number 7198. Sorry, my friend. This is blockchain. It's these digital goods. You lose them, they're lost, man. There's no backsies, no recoveries, no return to sender. Sorry, bud. Sorry about that. You haven't been in crypto if you haven't got hacked, man. So welcome to the club.
It's unfortunate. I've been there so many times.
You asked me if I'm a little bit aware of Emblem Vault. Yeah, I'm one of these listeners that are listening for half a year to your podcast and never were on the stage. So just wanted to say I'm a huge fan, and it's finally the moment where I'm also talking on the podcast. And later on, I will listen to it and listen to my own voice. So great show that you all made. So I think it was time to also speak here. So thank you for the time.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
Of course, bro. We listen and we take in all feedback. We know it's all been a risk. Trust me, Emblem's been at the forefront in the center of multi-chain, functionality for literally since the very beginning. It was the first cross-chain NFT tool. It still today exists as the largest cross-chain NFT tool by much magnitude. So we've heard it all. And we know the risk factors, and we're just happy, overall that we could work with Frank to really accelerate that process. And it seems like a lot of teams are really beginning to start seeing that to access different liquidity. I mean, one kind of thing that we saw, for example, and then I'll kind of move on to the next topic. When we did the Embel's launch, right? We did the $25 vaulting fee instead of $20 vaulting fee. And there was an ETH gas fee on top of it. So essentially people are paying about $40 to $50 to mint these Embels, which were Bell's Coin native PFP assets, but being delivered on Ethereum. And it sold out quite quickly, 6 hours. We said that this was this is an experiment. We're going to treat this as, an Emblem collection, but we have no idea what the appetite is for these kind of cross-chain tools, and turns out quite high, because that $40, that cumulative $40 mint was probably multiples higher than anything else that it exists on Bell's Coin. Most things on Bell's Coin was about free. Yeah, so you could just see that a lot of these people on Ethereum, to them $40 is nothing, right? They're paying hundreds or thousands of dollars for mints, and just for them to have exposure to Bell's Coin, through this idea. They liked Viva as an artist. They also like to support Emblem and do things that we're participating in. And then you get the traders on top of it. It just shows that, that's just a small fraction of the things that exist out there. And so you could take those ideas to Bitcoin as well, where the capital is the most in abundance. And it just creates a very, very, very exciting time. Although, we had this conversation with BitGod last time. he's more in the camp that he believes crypto is going to exist as, native ecosystems that don't interact with one another. We're on the complete opposite side of that. We're like, maybe this cycle that exists, but I don't think after this cycle you will have just independent economies not interacting with one another, importing and exporting assets. To me, that just seems like such a asinine kind of thought and belief, but it's such a short-term thought or short.
I can't even. How is that even? I don't even know how that's even in the realm of possible. Even if you are the hardest of hardcore Bitcoin maxis, all you have to do is look. There's literally thousands of chains. Those aren't going away, and people are making new ones every day. There's just and the L2s and all the rest of it. It's how on earth is that just going to go away? It would literally have to go away for cross chain to not be something. It would just it just doesn't make any sense, honestly. But who knows? Crazy things will happen. Yeah.
Well, so as we started the show, the Magic Eden Ethereum marketplace has gone live. So we're going to be able to go through this right now, live on the show.
Oh my goodness.
We've discussed we've discussed this how many times over the last few years about royalty enforced. So here it says Magic Eden plus Yuga Labs present the new Ethereum marketplace, supporting creators, rewarding collectors, and bringing you tomorrow's best projects. You're going to click LFG. And here we are. We got Goblin Town, Mutants. You got Neo Tokyo, Quirkies. So here's ETH, right? You got Miladies. Oh, some Miladies are on here. Little Pudgies, Moonbirds, Pudgies. And so, what caught my attention here? Oh, and they're offering bonuses. So 50% bonus, which is their diamonds, for active incentives in these certain collections, which are the monkey pictures, which is something we actually talked about. The thing here, that kind of, is a tough one to grasp, but it's going to take a lot of force, is that they're going to be all these collections that are deployed essentially after, I believe it'd be August 1st, 2023, to where, so basically any of the older collections you cannot enforce royalties off of because they're immutable smart contracts. But what a lot of people did once royalties started changing is they started creating upgradable contracts to where if there's some sort of blocker that's set in place, then you can basically go into your smart contract and edit it so that you don't, so that it's not immutable. So things like Bored Apes and Mutants, right? That's probably why they have these bonuses. It's impossible to enforce royalties, so it's impossible for them to go ahead and block Bored Apes and stuff on these other marketplaces. But if you trade here on this marketplace, then they can get royalties. So I'm assuming this is what the 50% diamond is.
Yep.
Same with, I think, Pudgy Penguins, Moonbirds, maybe Miladies, Zuzukis. Some of these OG collections, they will not be able to block you on other marketplaces. But they've come out and said that, any new collections that come through there, they will be blocked on Blur, they'll be blocked on OpenSea, and they'll be blocked on LooksRare. I find it hard that they're going to be able to win this battle still to this day using ERC 721C, which was created by Limit Break and Gabe from, I forgot what his project's called. And it's going to be a battle, man. I don't know. Adam, as we look at this now, how are you feeling about Magic Eden and Yuga in this marketplace? Do you think they will have, do you think they'll win this, or do you think they'll be able to take some market share by blocking other collections or incentivize or blocking other marketplaces or adding enough incentives so that Yuga and these and Pudgies can make their money back or increase revenue through Magic Eden trading, although you can go ahead and trade these on other marketplaces for the OG collections?
Boy, what do the incentives have to be, right? I mean, it's just well, if the incentives have to be so high as to get me to do it and not save the marketplace fee or the royalties, those incentives have to be basically equal to the marketplace fees and the royalties, right? I mean, it's just knowing the way human nature works, especially when you're talking about something that's $50,000, right? Are people going to want to pay whatever do we know the percentage that they're charging?
I'm trying to
Or the
look at it right
royalties?
now.
Okay.
So 1% royalty. That's not even that high, actually. 1%
1%.
royalty
Okay.
on Bored Apes. I'm gonna go through these as you're talking.
Okay. So that's actually interesting. Actually, I like that strategy, which is they've set it so low as to be like almost invisible, almost. So am I gonna then go and try to go around it? They may actually have the right number there. I actually like that strategy. That would have been something I would have recommended.
So
Which
here, so
is
Pudgies are set at 5%. The Bored Apes and Mutants are set at 1. Moonbirds are set at 5. So maybe I'll pitch it this way then. Do you think that, so it looks like everything is 5 outside of Mutant Apes and Bored Apes, but Bored Apes and Mutant Apes also have this 50% bonus for diamonds. Do you think there's a chance then that they eventually bump these royalties up higher after people have become accustomed to trading on air?
It just seems like there's going to be, the competition's right on your heels. Like, how are you going to, how long can that last? Unless it becomes something along the lines of there becomes social pressure for selling on other marketplaces, which I've never seen any kind of reaction from a like social shaming standpoint, I just don't know how this is just it's a tsunami. How can you stop it? It just doesn't seem likely that they're going to be able to. Look, people will always want to save a couple grand or $1,000 on a sale of something. Who wouldn't want to put that $1,000 in their pocket? Like just human nature. So either they got to make the rewards so enticing that it's basically a no-brainer, or I love that they're taking the shot at it. I applaud them, but it just seems like you say, whack-a-mole. Like, how are they going to stop this flood?
It's going to be tough. Well, also too, now if you're blocking these other marketplaces, right? Like Blur. Oh, I want to note here. So DGods has a 0.33% royalty. So they're pretty much none that exists. And everything else was 5% higher.
I think he said, Frank said, they're going to use 100% of those royalties to buy back floor DGods, basically. Buy back floor DGods and then basically gift those to, worthy community members or people who want to enter the community.
Yeah, so the diamond rewards. We want to make sure that users are rewarded for supporting creators. You can earn diamonds in 3 ways. Making offers on top 100 collections on Magic Eden. This is for, I guess this is for, is this multi-chain? Oh, no, this is just for Ethereum. Listing top 100 collections natively on Magic Eden, because to list natively means that's how you get the royalty enforced. And I know that because as we've been talking with Reservoir and building Emblem markets, we've learned because Reservoir is actually the supporting infrastructure for this marketplace as well. So they've given us a lot of inside information on this. And then buying any NFT on Magic Eden, third-party aggregated listings must be bought on Magic Eden. Again, okay, that's how you enforce royalties. See, they have to put in parentheses because those are the caveats, right? It has to be listed on Magic Eden. It has to be bought on Magic Eden. That's how the royalties are enforced. So that's how you get these type of incentives. The one thing I do give, they're going for it, which is tough. But I mean, Magic Eden also has the multi-chain thesis as well, the cross-chain thesis. I've seen their volume has drastically increased. I think they're like number 2 or number 3 marketplace overall. They have definitely the market share on ordinals. They've lost market share on Solana by a lot. And then with Ethereum, right, you're basically going toe to toe with Blur at this point in their incentive system. And now with Blast, right, going to be even tougher. I'd like to hear Chris's opinion on this, though, as somebody who's just understands trading strategies and Solana ecosystem. As this has came out the gate in the last 30 minutes, what's your thought on the enforced royalty marketplace, and how does this give any leverage in Magic Eden becoming the top NFT trading marketplace over X amount of time?
Hey, this is Chris. So we're from the Emblem account today at the moment. But man, it kind of just seems like it's everything that the whole ecosystem, crypto broadly, has been kind of building against, right? You want to own your assets. You want to be able to trade them natively, really take ownership of them. You want to remove the egregious middleman fees. It just seems like adding these royalties are trying to force them on users and trying to really kind of crack down on where they can trade them is almost like an antithesis of what crypto is supposed to be. So it's a lofty goal. I mean, obviously, we really want them to succeed. We really want, creators to get paid in perpetuity for the work. But it's just the market's going to, fill those inefficiencies. And as crypto goes more cross chain, there's going to be way more opportunities for, people like Emblem or other kind of protocols to fill those gaps where you can kind of just bypass exactly what they're doing over there. So, I mean, it's a lofty goal, but I think that they're going to have a hard time going forward, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They did come out also and say that they have plans to add more marketplaces to Magic Eden throughout the rest of the year. My guess is Doginals is probably the next one, if I'm being completely honest. OKX is actually supposed to add Doginal support today, tomorrow, end of this week. And Doji is just absolutely ripping today. I woke up, it was up 50% out of a downtrend.
Really?
And I'm gonna go over here to Doggy Market. I mean, Doginals just celebrated its 1 year anniversary over the weekend. And dude, there's a lot of progress being made, a lot of new attention. I don't know if you've seen, there's a new trend on Bitcoin, which is called NatCats, which is like the NAT. It's like, do you remember when we talked about DMC?
Yeah, I had people hitting me up on
theory?
those. And I was like, I don't know how you even buy them. I think it was done for like the first month. A couple people hit me up in DMs like, where do I get these? And I'm like, literally, I have no idea. So yeah, I saw them popping though, for sure.
So basically, so it looks like it's came down a little bit, but Doji, if you look at this, it's literally just green across the board for the most part, at least the top 7 on Doggy Market, who's really begun taking, a lot of the volume and activity away from Doge Labs. I don't know how that happened, but it looks like Doji just crossed 9,000 holders. Market cap's now 60 million. It was up at 75 million this morning. DBIT is now clear number 2, has really surpassed FIWB and Hub as the clear 2 at sitting at a $13 million market cap. This was a free and fair mint over the last 2 months. It's, again, right, you look at Doge, and because it's the like father meme chain, you're like, wow, can people really just kind of copy pasta what's happening on these other chains, but then just add its own, Doge kind of twist to it? And that seems to continually keep happening over and over and over. You had DBIT, right, which was a free and fair mint, which was awesome. It almost not brought down Doge, but a lot of the Doge maxis had said that it was making Dogecoin sick. If you remember that tweet that we had brought up. Yep. And so that finished minting out. That has 3,700 holders. You have Hub has been making a lot of progress in terms of being like the track, I guess, of Doginals, although track is also building on Doginals. You have FIWB, which is still hanging around. It's been losing some market share, but this is kind of if you want to bet on Doge Labs, I would say FIWB is like the chain or the token you want to bet on, since they're the ones that deployed it, and they're probably still one of the top holders. And Doge Labs is providing all the infrastructure. They're building they're unifying the indexer with OKX to build, I guess, a standard for the industry. I think this is what's really been holding it back. So once they deploy that, and OKX wants to deploy their Doginals marketplace, they're supposed to this week at some point, is what the original post happened. And I think that's why a lot of the volumes just drastically, kind of shot out of the roof, is everyone's kind of anticipation of that. I mean, we talked with Jason Fang of Sora Ventures last week, and he said he was super bullish on Doginals. It's still, right, still this today as we talk, what's the new thing that's going to come to it? It's still kind of in this early stage of copy pasta. We talked with Bark last week, who's building the Sheebexer, which is rare Sheebs or rare sats on Doge. That's also coming. And what's going to be new? I don't really know. But Nat Dogs are also popping off, which I've seen, which are basically Nat Cats, but on Doge. So I think this is still a big ecosystem that you want to pay attention to here moving forward. A few different trends that are really popping off. You also have Doginal mini Doges are up. They're all-time high 3,000 Doge, but they're now at 2,000 Doge. And I think once Track comes in and starts indexing, and then Woofy Swap, whose next launchpad product is called Lakoya, something like that, which is a Doge L2. That'll be, I think, the first Doge L2 that we've ever seen. That'll be quite interesting because maybe we'll move in next to the Bitcoin layer 2 kind of topic, but Doge L2, man, which would be probably more of a Doge sidechain than it is like an L2, which is essentially what all these like Bitcoin L2 arguments, right? It never ends. But Adam, man, what are your thoughts on Doge? Do you think anything new and innovative will ever come from Doge, or do you think it just continues growing based off of just the memes that exist on there?
I think it seems like, I never discount when the next or who's going to be the next interesting real new thing. This is all just obviously copy pasta, retread the playbook. Makes it a little concerning, right? If you realize like whatever FIWB can be knocked off its second place spot by a brand new one that came out last week just because that had better marketing. It's a little bit sketchy from like if you're investing, like you're buying this and you want to hold, you think it's going to go up. It's a little bit terrifying. I would be a little bit scared because you just realize how you can just get steamrolled and it's no longer that one. It's Pepe, or now it's Sheeb, or now it's whatever. And it's an endless supply of new. And so it becomes very, hard to try and pick the winner, right? I think obviously Doggy's the winner, but who knows? Narratives change, right? We saw that on Stamp where Kevin wasn't the number one anymore. People were like, no, actually we like Stamp better. And so it's just very hard from like, I'm just a little bit terrified, it's almost like actually you and me, Jake, we should just get let's do the Emblem token and launch that one tomorrow, right? And it's like, because you just feel like, let's just do it and we get it for basically free rather than buy into something because you're more likely the exit liquidity, right? So it's fun and it's certainly like, bro, it's a casino over there. But I don't know. I don't see anything beyond what we've seen on other chains already, right? This is retread stuff. Not to say it won't work and not to say dudes aren't making them bank, but yeah, it's casino mentality right now.
Yeah, nothing new so far, but definitely a lot of interest from a lot of the major players. We'll go to is it Golem, and then we'll go to Dogfather right after.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for bringing me up. I haven't had any experience with Doge NFTs, Doge ordinals at all, but I wanted to talk a few minutes about Magic Eden's recent change and also Bitcoin ordinals popping off. So kind of like what Adam was saying, I think that this Magic Eden play into the Ethereum marketplace is interesting, but I honestly don't think that it's they're going to take number one market share or anything like that from Blur. At best, they're going to nudge out OpenSea's market share a bit more, nudge out Looks Rare's market share and X2, Y2 and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is that people don't like paying royalties, and creating a marketplace that is focused on enforcing royalties, it just kind of feels like a losing play at this point. I mean, when you look at Yuga, they can't enforce royalties on Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, but they can enforce royalties on things like Other Deed and Codas. And actually, they made the announcement that Codas have just been banned from every other trading platform other than Magic Eden. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. But ultimately, I think that I believe Adam was saying this, but the only way that Magic Eden is going to incentivize people to pay royalties is if their diamonds then turn into a token, and then that token is something that is worthwhile for people to pay the 5% royalties. Because I was just looking through it right now, and a lot of these, most of the collections, it's an aggregator, right? So almost all of these collections are actually not listed on Magic Eden right now. They're on Blur and everything else, and Magic Eden is just pulling them. So it'll be interesting to see in the coming days and weeks when collections either fully import over to Magic Eden, what they set their royalties at and stuff like that, and what happens with that. As far as new things happening in the space, so I've been a deep NFT crypto degen since 2021. Came up on ETH, always was deep into ETH. And then when Blur came around in early 2022, we saw a big shift in the market, right? From people looking at NFT collections, finding traits that they resonated with or they thought were undervalued, purchasing those and flipping those. That's like basically what I came up on. And then it switched to the more financialization model of bidding on the floor, just buying whatever NFT you can for the cheapest price and then flipping it. And what I'm finding right now, and that is super exciting to me, is this new push into ordinals is like a rebirth of the original ETH NFT culture, where if you look at node monkeys, you could look at Bitcoin puppets, people are literally scrolling through the collections and they're happy to pay a premium for traits that they think are undervalued or that they resonate with. And what I'm seeing right now is that I believe that this next wave is all going to be about Bitcoin ordinals, and it's going to bring back that original NFT like vibe of, you know, I like the art, or I like the trait, or I'm looking for something that is undervalued and I'm willing to pay a premium for it. Because even now, like if you look at the price of Bitcoin, it just ripped to 57K. And usually in NFT space, when the underlying asset rips, like ETH pumps, then you're going to see NFTs usually dump. But node monkeys have held a really strong floor between 0.4 and 0.35. And buys are continuing to come in and people are purchasing higher tier or just more rare traits. It's a sign of a super healthy industry. And I think it's just the start. Like there's only like 5 collections on ordinals right now that are getting all of the attention. You have node monkeys, you have puppets, you have RSICs, quantum cats, and you know, OMBs. That's about it. So I think that over the coming weeks and months, we're going to see a huge explosion in Bitcoin NFTs with new projects coming out. Like Inked is coming out very soon that looks really great, and they're actually bringing really high quality art to Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm excited. I think the next new thing is Bitcoin ordinals, even though they've been around for a year, but it was spreadsheet trading. It was, you know, people that are really diving into the weeds. Now Magic Eden has that marketplace lock, like monopoly on ordinals, a really easy user interface.
Wait, so are you saying we're going to run back the 21 NFT bull run just on Bitcoin? That's what the 2024 bull run is going to be, is just running back the NFT playbook. Is that right?
100%.
Oh my God,
like,
bro.
My gut is telling me that.
Oh my God. When metaverse, bro? When roadmap?
we're gonna run back to 2021.
Holy shit. Let me get my fucking Yetis ready, man. Here we go.
Dude, I mean, you're all ready for late night sessions, you know, jumping into Discords, clamoring for whitelist spots.
Bro, should we spin back up the Clubhouse, man? And Jake, you want to head back to Clubhouse again, bro? We can do Clubhouse again. Shit. You may be right, dude. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think, you know, each if you look at each of the kind of previous bull runs, it's always been something that you know, was part of the previous bull run but didn't pop. Right. So NFTs happened during the, you know, 2016, 17, you know, bull run when DeFi, you know, it's just nothing. It was just like, it took time to kind of happen. And I'd be surprised if it's just NFTs, you know, are the thing, but you could be right, dude. I don't know. You could be right.
I think that the NFTs will be like, they're not going anywhere. PFPs aren't going anywhere. Sure. And it's kind of branching onto new chains at this point, and then they're building their communities on new chains. Once those get established, like they are on ETH already, then we start seeing some interesting new developments, like with the 404 meta that just came out on ETH. So, but right now, Bitcoin NFTs are in their infancy. you know, NFTs across multiple chains are in their infancy. Like, my best advice to people is like, start looking at other chains. Like, look at ZK Sync. Like, ZK Sync is popping off. There are some NFTs like Moody Mites that have like done like 4 or 5 X's in the past few weeks. Like, look at other chains, because ETH is just kind of chilling right now. And the biggest opportunity I see personally is ordinals. And one final tidbit is that I think that it is going to run back the ETH 2021 playbook, but I think it's going to go faster and harder than before. Whereas we had like years to kind of like go through that. I think that maybe this is only like a 6-month or an 8-month kind of thing, where it's going to rise really fast and then could potentially crash really fast. Depends on how the rest of the
It's funny because I don't know what Jake's feeling is, but I felt like we already ran through the playbook and we were done by July. Like, I felt like we'd run through, you know, last July, like we'd already gone through the metaverses and we'd gone through the, like, you know, 3D avatar. It felt like we had gone through the whole kind of system again, but you may be right. Like, maybe now it's just finally touching in and people are really getting.
There was no centralized marketplace.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you're trading ordinals on spreadsheets.
Yeah, no, it was still
happen
for sure. Still
here, like the ordinals on spreadsheet thing, that was literally like a 3-week thing that happened, and people just kept saying ordinals on spreadsheet were being traded. Realistically, lasted like 3 weeks until like a new protocol emerged, and then you had to have the spreadsheet until market support happened, right? Like that's with like the NatCats thing. It's a new protocol. It's only being indexed. Okay, yeah. I think we have a much higher to go. Ultimately, I've said this a few times. I don't think you'll realize the market tops until X payments starts allowing Doge trading, and then Doge trading Doge just goes way past $1, and then Doginals are just like everyone's like, and then everyone's like, Doginals are the most obvious thing ever.
Obvious play.
Obvious play, right? Because people are just going to be buying Doge on Twitter. I think the market keeps going up until something like that happens, and then it's because again, right? Everyone's always like, what's the new thing? What's going to happen, right? Golem is saying like, we're just going to run the ETH NFT playbook directly on Bitcoin, which is happening. Ultimately, I think what happens is the market just comes back and just starts buying Doge again. You know, everyone's like, God damn it, that was the most obvious thing. Because most people who are buying Doge or retail, right? We had this conversation when we first started this call. Retail is not back yet. Is retail going to buy Bitcoin ordinals? No, retail is probably just going to come buy Doge again because it's going to be the only thing that they're going to want. Doge is going to be at 10 cents. Bitcoin's going to be at like $80,000, right? Like which one's retail going to buy? But I think this market cycle actually is longer than the last one. If you look at like the adoption S curve, generally the first few are just like major candlestick up, and then it starts to kind of lessen out. I think we're kind of in that territory where the bull market's actually going to be a lot longer, and you're going to have longer consolidation periods. And then eventually it trickles down to other chains. Because right now, really the only NFT ecosystem that's getting any sort of attention is Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana NFTs kind of for the most part, but we haven't even made it anywhere down the board to all these other X random chains and stuff like that. So it's going to be exciting, but I know Dogfather's had his hand up. So thanks for waiting patiently, brother. What do you think?
Hey, GM guys. Yeah, I like Golem's take on ordinals, that people really have a collector mindset again and not just financials, like flipping and stuff. So it's more like a collector chain. And with Doginals and Doge, I'm not as bullish as you, Jake, because I haven't seen anything interesting on Doginals in terms of PFPs. And I think this is because of the technical limitations that you have. You cannot do much. It's like pixel art. And I started on Doge, so I love Doge. I'm a huge fan of Doge Party. But if I look at the Doginals PFP collections, it's nice, but I mean, show me something really interesting. I mean, something where you think this is something, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything. I mean, of course you can have some pixelated PFP, and this may pop. We have this one really expensive, relatively expensive collection, but I don't know. I'm not so convinced yet. So I think the next big thing will be fungibles again on, like with runes. This will be a next big wave. And yeah, so I'm all in mostly on ordinals. I think this is where the innovation is happening. This is really really exciting and cool and innovative projects, like the Quantum Cats. I mean, this is not just a collection. This is like really technically high tech. They have some mission, so they have a bit more around than just like, wow, bro, this is a Doge PFP, and cool. But I mean, you can show me something really cool, and I'm like, okay, this is something I haven't seen anywhere else, but I haven't seen anything like this. So, but still, I mean, this doesn't say it won't happen that Doge goes to $1 and there will be one or two PFP projects that will moon. But I don't know. In the long run, you need to have something. You put something on the table that's unique and that's cool. I mean, even the memes are not strong. I mean, I don't see a strong meme game on Dogenas. Not yet.
Well, Docs is giving you the evil eye down there. What's up, Docs? How you doing?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you for having me on stage. Dogfather, have you seen Doksuki's art?
Yeah, I've seen that, but I mean, yeah, I mean they look pretty cool. But still, this is just putting a dog theme on an ETH collection. I'm saying, technically, I mean, look what you can do on ordinals, right? You have parent-child, you have so many technical things that you can do. I don't see anything like that on Dogenas, because it's just like you don't have Taproot, you don't have all these possibilities. It's just like you have a very, I mean, the constraints are very tight. It's a bit like stamps, where you also have these very tight constraints. And I think this is just limiting what you can do on these protocols.
I agree with you. I think, however, that the fact that we still don't have things like Taproot and whatnot is an interesting opportunity. So we all know the impact of Doge and X meme culture with Elon Musk and possibly integrating that on X. So I think a possible update could be integrated, which could make this ecosystem valid. But I remember in the old days of ordinals, like back when we were trading sub 100Ks and Frank was inscribing his DGods with a low-res image and then layering it on top of Magic Eden to make it look as HD. I think we're still in that phase on Doge, and we're just trying to navigate whatever is possible and what is not possible. But I believe that eventually some sort of update like Taproot could come to Doge and bring the community to life as a legit NFT ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting. Dogecoin is definitely probably 9 months behind Bitcoin ordinals in that sense, maybe a little bit longer. So you just kind of got to hold on and wait for some of the cavalry to really return. But Bitcoin ordinals and just Bitcoin ecosystem in general has all of the attention, like tangentially related project. Bitcoin Stamps actually had a big announcement today. They're being integrated into the Bitcoin virtual machine, the BVM network. I believe these are the guys who created New Bitcoin City.
Wasn't it called
the same
something
people?
else? Yeah, didn't they? Yeah, I didn't know if they changed the name for it.
This is their new project. So I think they just abandoned New Bitcoin City after that kind of tanked off and created this BVM. And Mike was talking about this today. So it says with this integration with Stamp Chain being the data validity layer, developers can now choose to roll up to Bitcoin as stamps or ordinal inscriptions when setting up a new layer too. So I guess with the BitVM or this Bitcoin virtual machine network, which is different from BitVM, they're saying that you can choose stamps or ordinals to be the native assets of an L2, because that's what this Bitcoin virtual machine network is creating your own rollups or validity layer on top of Bitcoin. So exciting, interesting stuff happening over there. I know also with the Stamps Network, there's SRC20 Launchpad, which I will be an advisor on. I saw some people showing it today, the SRC20 or SRC Pad, which was a project with Universal and Stamp Chain. So 2 key builders there. I know there'll be some exciting stuff happening there. And one last thing I want to talk about, because tomorrow we're having an Inscription Show, so we'll be able to hear all about that tomorrow in terms of their facet NFTs and kind of interesting stuff. Merlin Chain and this Bitcoin layer 2 race is really heating up. And now Merlin Chain has about I have it here pulled up, $2.2 billion.
$2.2 billion. What on earth?
$1 billion in
It's crazy, dude.
Staked assets. And it's crazy. You know, we criticize it a little bit. I've been promoting it because I think Merlin Chain's already won the layer 2 race on Bitcoin. I don't think you can get anything close to this. I know 2.2 is a lot and there's a lot of capital on Bitcoin. But look here, they have 229,000 bitmaps. So they have 27% of all bitmaps staked. They have 23,000 Bitcoin staked.
23,000 Bitcoin. Jeez, who's putting their Bitcoin over there in some dude's wallet?
Dude, on top of that, so they got 25,000 ETH staked, 17 million USDC, 76 million USDT. They have 10% of all Bitcoin frogs staked at 11%. They have 836 node monkeys staked, which is another 9%. Right? Then they have all their BitVM and all these other things that are happening on Merlin Chain.
Wait, how much ETH?
I don't know how you're going to get anything close to this.
How much ETH did they have staked?
25,000 ETH.
Oh my God, damn.
So
what's
they've
preventing
just
these
really
guys from just running away and just running this whole thing?
So I put a few posts about this the other day, and I'm gonna see if I could pull my tweet up. I said, at the end of the day, a lot of like the FUD, yes, there's a huge security risk. We're very aware of that. Of course, there always is. But a few things here. First, on Whales Market, which is a marketplace where you can trade OTC airdrops that have not been airdropped. How it actually works, I have no idea. But I think you're like basically creating like vouchers for the things that you're supposed to get airdropped, I guess. Trustless OTC desk for you to trade your airdrop allocations. Again, this is what I found to be the number one of this, but how it works, I'm not unsure. The opening market for this Merl token right now is around $1.50, which at full FDV would place this during the airdrop around $3 to $4 billion out of the market, or just right off the top of the bat, which would put it around the same market cap as Stacks right now. Stacks just hit a new all-time high this morning. The thing here, though, is like, they know degen tokenomics. There's only going to be 21% of the Merl token will be airdropped after or in March, so next month. So, but I say full FDV, that's like the full token allocation of $2.1 billion to hit there. Looking at it, and the biggest FUD outside of security risk is like, oh, it's not a Bitcoin layer 2, it's a ZK, fork, Polygon, blah, 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 right? But I think at the end of the day, one thing they did is they subtly onboarded, $2 billion in NFT and fungible token value through account abstraction, which isn't a Bitcoin thing, right? This is a crypto UI thing that people have been talking about a lot. And what crypto abstraction is basically just taking away the need for private keys, although it exists. It basically abstracts all that away into like a nicely packed user interface. So like, regardless if you can connect to Merlin Chain either through Unisat wallet or you can connect it through MetaMask. And whichever one you do, it gives you an account on the other side of that it just automatically populates. So you get both. And that's kind of where the account abstraction comes from. So they're making it very simple and easy to use. And then also on the other side of that, there was another tweet that I had here as well, is that it has the bitmap community. It's one, right? 30% of all bitmaps. You have, right, all of the BRC 420 kind of people participating in this. And it's all just Asia based, right? It's all kind of the East capital coming in. And I think it's going to be tough to beat. At some point, I think next week or in the next few weeks, they're going to have their M tokens live, which is basically they're giving you the liquid version of your token on Merlin Chain. So even though your native assets like Bitmap, I'll use for this example, is staked, you'll have mbitmap to where you could trade in this closed ecosystem because you can't unstake anything until April. So you're just going to have $2.2 billion just playing around in this ecosystem that can't leave. Like, I don't know how you beat that. I don't know how there's any.
Dude, I would be
opportunity to come
delaying
anything
the
close to
shit
that.
for months. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be another month. It's gonna be another month, dude. I mean, it's like,
But
literally. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Jake, what do you mean that you think that it's won? Like, what do you think that it can't be beat? Would expand on that a little bit?
I just think it has the mind share of the ordinal mind share. Okay, so I guess with Bitcoin, there's multiple communities that exist. You have like the heavy East based kind of community. Obviously, you have the infrastructure and Bitcoin native kind of community, who I guess will probably favor stacks because it's a little bit more in line with kind of the ideals with this proof of transfer mining. Although it has a stacks token, which if you're complete Bitcoin native, then obviously it's a shitcoin and you'll never participate in it. But I think for like the Asia, the bitmap community, which also translates over to like the DMT community, and it touches all these like very ordinal focused communities, I think that's where the capital comes in. And now they're introducing bit wars coming in and airdropping tokens off of your bitmaps that have been staked. And I think it won because I don't think you'll see as much capital be bridged out or even be unstaked, just because of this like way that they're just continually keep incentivizing people to participate in the ecosystem. And it seems like Asia is not interested in leaving.
What do you think like happens just kind of after their airdrop or after they're able to unstake, kind of maybe in March or even April? I mean, even if they do have like $2 billion, that's like 0.2% of the liquidity on Bitcoin. So it's just like,
Right.
It seems like it's so small and so early to call like a layer 2 like that, especially if it is mostly focused on, say, Eastern world. Wouldn't like Western world probably have a comparable product that they cater to that could potentially be just as big?
Yeah, stacks would definitely be that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, look, they've clearly captured like the BRC20 ordinals market. Like they've already, it seems like, to Jake's point, they've already won that, because to get like bitmap people to move to another L2, probably not going to happen, right? It's just too much friction. But
isn't the reason that they move there just to get incentives?
Absolutely.
For the meantime? And
yeah.
So once the incentives are up, then wouldn't they just move to a new platform? Is
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying.
I don't disagree with you, but we have seen kind of if they're able to do a season 1, season 2, they can kind of the unvaulting and or the moving away, they might be able to incentivize the people to stay.
Times.
Yeah, we have.
We'll see like a whole sprawl of layer 2s just kind of continue to pop up.
Yep.
Just like Ethereum has a million layer 2s, and it almost gets confusing.
Yep.
Because there's so many layer 2s, because they all have different timeframes where their incentive programs are not. I just can pretty easily see that that's probably exactly what's going to happen on Bitcoin again.
I don't disagree with you. The interesting thing to me was that number of the amount of people who put their Bitcoin there. That's just stunning to me. That I don't know how much is 28,000 Bitcoin. That's like $1,200,000 for people, for that many people to put that much Bitcoin over there. I'm stunned that would happen. Like I could see, of course, my bitmaps, whatever. They're not. I'm not doing anything with them anyway. They're basically worthless if everybody tries to sell them. Let's just go get more tokens for these tokens and play around. But actual Bitcoin, that's incredible. I think, honestly, for me, that's
Chris. So what I'm saying is, I mean, they won in terms of they probably have mind share and market share for at least 6 months to a year before anybody comes anything close to figuring out how to take it on or how to incentivize capital to flow out of it and into this new ecosystem. Can they always be unseated? Of course. I think I would compare Merlin Chain similar to what Blast is doing. They had a very similar setup, right? Blast was obviously backed by the credibility and success of Blur and the founder, right? So people sent over $1.9 billion so far in staked ETH, which is much better, right, than 2.2 billion, where maybe only 1.5 billion is fungible tokens. The rest are just like NFT derived value. And Blast, their focus is casino-fi, gamble-fi products, which they're doing right now. And with Merlin Chain, their focus is bitmap. And with gaming kind of centric around what you could do with bitmap. This is where something with like Bitmap War just came out, and there's all these other ones that are doing this. They're playing, to me, the exact same thing, just doing it, with Bitcoin assets and with ETH assets, versus just trying to build this like Bitcoin layer 2, because it's a side chain. And I think just from all these other L2s that are popping up, to me, it doesn't seem like you'll ever get a Bitcoin L2. So I don't think you can actually ever completely, suffice to a Bitcoin layer 2. And honestly, if you get to that, I don't think you'll be able to even do that much if you just have OG Bitcoin capital who are just putting the money in, because they're not interested in gamification and tokenomics, right? They just want complete self-sovereignty and decentralization. I think it's going to be tough to unseat Merlin Chain over the next 6 to 12 months. Being they won that's what I mean. Of course, they can always be unseated, but when you look at Ethereum, right, even the capital that flows into Arbitrum or it flows into Optimism, a lot of time it just hangs around there for a while. And also, unstaking 200,000 bitmap is going to take weeks to do because of the mempool congestion, right? Removing 200,000 assets in a block that you can only have theoretically 3,000 kind of transactions in at most, right? You're saying, it could take a day if bitmap had all block space, right? To now do that systematically to incentivize it to another ecosystem, I just find it hard to even logistically do that.
Yeah, I think that I think that they could have a good product, and I think that they'll win in terms of, as long as, they kind of continue on this path, that their airdrop and their incentives will probably be some of the biggest. And in doing so, I think that means that they moved first and that they ran through their incentive program first also. And having a massive incentive program that rewards users for being early will then kind of put the eyeballs back on to the other ecosystems, and capital will begin to move towards there. So just by being a first mover is almost kind of like it's kind of like disincentivized in this ecosystem, because you're the first one to kind of shoot off, and then other ecosystems kind of have to push their incentive programs forward, and they kind of take liquidity away.
Do you think they'll be able to get any traction for, trading, buying, selling of these assets on Merlin Chain? Do you think that's going to happen? Like bitmap, is there any possibility bitmap, the number one place to trade, bitmap becomes Merlin Chain?
Maybe, but I just think that the whole entire ecosystem, if you look throughout any of the blockchains, is all based on incentives. That's all they continue to push forward. And it's just the same money moving around from chain to chain. And so even if they did have a somewhat, really great product that was used to kind of support the trading of bitmaps and everything else, I just think that once their incentive program is out, or the first round of it is out, liquidity is just automatically going to move somewhere else.
Yep. Good point.
Yeah, should be interesting how the rest of their incentive programs work. Kind of my last point on it is just over the last 2 weeks, they had a Voya airdrop, which was just like a BRC20 native token that was distributed to anyone who had done any sort of swap on Merlin Swap. Now they're doing an incentive for Bitmap, their state token. It seems like they've thought it out, at least to a degree. How long that lasts, who knows? I just think too, one of the foundations is just logistically unstaking and having to put 300,000 Bitcoin assets through the mempool to move to somewhere else. I just think that just is a big deterrent. Even if like on ETH to bridge and unbridge takes literally 2 minutes to do this to take literally could be hours to do per person. I just think it's going to be a logistical nightmare, and it just keeps a lot of the money, quote unquote, trapped or just incentivized to stay there and participate.
Even then, just as 2 billion is a big number, but it's actually like a really small number in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And so as more people get comfortable with this idea of putting their assets to use and gaining yield on them for kind of staking them or whatever, using platforms, they haven't ever done that on Bitcoin. So as just kind of, people get more comfortable with it, you can just expect that number to, multiply 5 or 10x. And then so, you know, 2 billion was a lot on Merlin chain, but then the next, you know, prominent layer 2, quote unquote, is going to have 5, 6, 10 billion. And so it's just super early. And I think that they do have the first mover. I think that their airdrop or their incentive program is going to be really good. But I think that that almost kind of hurts them for just moving first in a way.
So maybe they need to, you know, spin up the building that actually will keep people there, right? So maybe a loan platform launches there, maybe a, you know, a vibrant marketplace launches there. I don't know if that's in their strategy. I have no idea what they're up to, honestly, but yeah, I hear you though. That's the way.
I do agree.
I mean, we've just seen it on ETH, right?
I do agree. I do
like just jumping from, you know, marketplace to marketplace.
Well, so today, Your Highness Justin Sun also announced their collaboration between Tron and Merlin Chain. Right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about even more East Capital kind of moving into the ecosystem. We know Justin Sun and Tron, although maybe not the favorite of everybody, he also is one of the biggest mercenary capitalists that exists, moving between all these different ecosystems. So, you know, it'll be interesting. But you know, something on the other side from the West, right? I guess when Udi and Eric and the Taproot Wizard team deploy their ZK optimistic roll thing that they've been talking about for a long time, right? That could also just that could become the Western kind of L2. I don't know if they're going to do it, but they've been talking about it for a long time. So I would say that's probably where some of their capital is going to go. But there's a lot of stuff happening. So will be interesting. My computer is about to die here. So I think we'll wrap it up here today. Always a fun conversation, guys. I won't be here the next 2 days. So Adam and Chris will get to go back and forth. Should be a fun conversation. Inscriptions tomorrow. Adam, you have any comments on that? And then we can wrap it up here.
Yeah, we're going to dig in deeply to Facet. What the hell's going on with Facet? Dumb contracts on Facet, you know, basically free NFTs, cheap, super cheap on gas. So yeah, just interested to learn. I only know the highest little bit about it. So excited to dive in with with Tom and talk about it and figure out what the hell's going on Facet.
Hell yeah, it'll be very, very exciting to say the least. All right, well, appreciate it. I'll be down. I'm traveling the next 2 days. I'll be in Denver starting Thursday. So if anyone's down in Denver, East Denver, we have an Omnisat house. It's more like a mansion. So if you want to come hang out, we have all kinds of presentations with like Dan Held. I think Domo is going to be there, and Raph, and all the Ordinals community down at this house. So will be exciting to say the least. Chris and Adam going to hold it down, crushing it. We have the D-Desk announcement. That was very exciting. Big step forward. A lot of other things we're working on the Emblem side, which we will present in our town hall next week after ETH Denver. Until then, guys, stay safe. Make sure that you follow everyone on stage. Adam, myself, and Chris. Chris was talking through the Emblem account. Make sure that you give Chris a follow and the Emblem account a follow. And we'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, guys, make sure that you capture the market melt up, and we'll see you tomorrow.